or about 3 years, but this is the first time in this country since independence that we've had an administration that has placed renewed focus and attention to the MSME sectors. And also globally, the MSME sector has started also gaining momentum, and especially in the last about 8 years, and we even had the UN also giving it proper recognition. And now every year, June 27 is International Day for MSME. It shows how now everybody across the globe has started realizing the critical role that MSME play in our economy. And here back home, MSME are the backbone of our economy, currently contributing close to 40% to our GDP, even though we are still below the global average, which is 60%. And also most of the jobs that we have currently are generated from the MSME, even though again, majority of them are still not so much secure and sustainable, because most of our Kenyans of the working age are playing or are occupying the informal sector space. And we have like a potential workforce of about 20 million, only 3.5 million are formally employed. 2.5 million are in the private sector, about 1 million we are in the civil service. So then we have majority of our Kenyan people of the working age now who are trying to find a way, hustling or surviving, who are in the informal sector. And that's why now it became necessary for any government, by the way, and it should have happened long time ago, but we want to thank His Excellency the President who realized for us to grow our economy, for us to create jobs for our young people, we have to support MSME to become more deliberate and intentional with programs, or rather with interventions that can support them, can formalize them, increase their visibility, formalize them, make them more visible, so then they can compete well in the market, they can become more competitive and create sustainable jobs. So that's the space that MSME hold. But also, 98% of all businesses in Kenya, if you want to appreciate the role of MSME, the MSME, 98%. The corporates only occupy 2%. Unfortunately, most of our MSME are micro. So the micro, and most of those micro MSME are informal. And why are they informal? They're informal because they have had challenges, of course, with complex regulatory framework, taxation, those licensing, and the burden of compliance, the cost burden of compliance, and then of course access to financing have been issues that affect most MSMEs and hinder their growth and even to create sustainable jobs, even for themselves. I'm looking at a sole proprietor who is an MSME. I'm looking at Mama Mboga who wakes up every morning, goes to Gikomba, gets a vegetable, or the Ukulima market there gets a vegetable, and that become her source of daily income. That's why she gets food, that's why she pays her rent, that's why she pays school fees and all that obligation that she has. So it is her job. So we want to make that job become more secure, become more, sustainable, so that at the end of the day, when Susan, wakes up in the morning, going to the office, the Mama Mboga who wakes up from her home, going to get the burgers and going to the market, also considers that as her job, her day-to-day occupation. Now, you realize that the current administration is championing a bottom-up economic transformation agenda. And this recognizes that we have many Kenyans who are not participating effectively in the economy due to certain barriers, some of which I've already alluded to, access to affordable credit, and many of those that I'll be discussing as we move on. So MSME, transformation of MSME then was was flagged out as a core pillar of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, alongside agricultural productivity, housing, affordable housing, universal health care, as well as digital and super highway. So why did we flag out MSME? It's because we see it as the only opportunity through which we are going to create jobs, even self-jobs for majority of Kenyans, and we see it as the only sector through which we can get to grow our private sector, through which we can drive corporates from them, because if we grow them so that they can scale up and become large corporates, that's how our economy will grow, and that's how sustainable jobs will be created. So how are we going to transform our MSME economy? Because that was a commitment under Better. So we have 5 key commitments which we made, which I will wish to update where we are.
Okay,
the
briefly.
first one will be to decriminalize work. And a good example, look at our hawkers, look at our border. Everybody looks at them so negatively. But if there comes a day when borders across the country will say, today we are not working, like Hatuko works, Hatuko site, the way they usually say in Sheng, like they down their tools and they say we are not going, our economy will crash because of the role, the significant role that they play in the transport sector, in the logistics sector. Everything will come to a standstill. Now, again, if it comes a time when these hawkers, these mamambogas, people that we have been seeing running battles with them, especially in major towns and cities like here in Nairobi, where you're having county askaris running with them. If also one day they say we are clearing off, we are not going to the street again, the economy will crash. So now, His Excellency the President saw that as a huge opportunity, and many economies that are doing well, you see all work has been decriminalized, and there is work is work. So it's incumbent of us who are in authority to find a way of making those working spaces become more decent by designating